to start live, and then now 2 flies want to come into the car, so, and an airplane wants to cross over. But I hope all is well with everybody today. We're going to get started. We're going to be talking and diving deeper into women's hormones and discussing how the connections between our internal organs, the shift that we need to make, and really just understanding the space that we are in and how currently our industry and when it comes to our health and our food have completely shifted. I'm trying to get this set up. Hopefully my phone doesn't get too hot and it doesn't disturb it. If it does, I might have to move locations because I am in the sun in my car because I'm out and about today. So this live might not be as long as normal. I know the last one was kind of shorter as well, but I'm going to try to at least hit 30-45 minutes, I would say, of this live, but it's going to be the same topics as usual. I mean, the same topic of conversation as usual, and taking questions. If you have any, drop them down. But just understanding how people are getting admitted to the hospital because they're lacking recalls in our industry. They're lacking support and stability when it comes to knowing what is going on with our meats, what's going on with dairy, what has happened with our processed foods and our snacks in general and things. And so recalls are getting less and less. Fewer and fewer recalls are happening. It's not because that the food is getting better and that the industry is working on the problem that we're having, but rather it's because that they're telling them that the things that they used to push out all these recalls for that are potential dangers that could put people in harm's way are no longer an issue, but instead focus on these essential key points of maybe a little sprinkle of this, a little sprinkle of this, and not the full plethora of the fact that we have dysregulation inside of our system, inside of our food system to be specific. And so since they're sitting there telling them that you don't need to recall this, as well as the fact that they can let go pharmacists, people who work in the industry when it comes to medications and prescriptions, doctors and nurses and etc., letting them go for not only not needing them for their qualified job that they went to school for, but also raising the risk of contamination when it comes to them not regulating prescriptions. I'm trying to speak in a space where I can over here on TikTok without getting censored, without getting in trouble, because they are making the contamination risk so high right now currently. And if you are on a medication, if you are eating meat, if you are consuming dairy, if you're eating processed snacks and you don't know how to read your labels, or you don't have much discernment around food because you weren't taught how to, it's going to make it a difficult time for you to understand how so many people are getting sick with all of these laws and regulations that are going on, and to make the connection of how we are now in a space where we are no longer protected in food, in medical care, and etc. Because it's deeper than just if you are a person of color and not having representation, which is dangerous, but it's the full of everybody is in this category. If you are a person who is a consumer, who is not in that top 1%, you are in danger currently right now when it comes to what's going on with our medical industry and what's going on with our food. Because if you can't sit down and pay out of pocket to get an organ transplant today, you are in danger. Because that is the space that we are in currently right now. Is them damaging our organs, damaging our body, and then expecting us to pick up the pieces later on by depending on the same system that has poisoned us. It is not possible for you to reverse and to get better in the space that has poisoned you and made you sick. But the only reason why that we are dealing with this uphill battle consistently is this active battle against our health is coming from the people that we are trusting. You are putting all of your trust in a system that has made you sick. Western medicine was not designed to help you be able to reverse and to balance your hormones as a woman. They weren't designed to teach you how to have stable hormones as a woman, how to sync with your cycle. The food industry has never been designed in a space to keep you healthy and to get the nutrition that you need. The food industry has been, from the beginning of time, since they have become a corporation, designed to make sure that you consistently need them in some space to make your life more convenient so that you can eat more and spend more. That has been their design since they started actually having mass production for food. Because you used to shop in communities, you used to shop at farmers markets, local spots, because that was the only way for you to get food. We didn't have food being shipped from California to the south, from the south up north. Like, we weren't having that happen. And if it was expensive. It wasn't common. But the reason why it's so common now is because they have made it the norm for you to have things shipped across the country when it comes to meat, when it comes to dairy, not just fruits and vegetables, but the things that shouldn't be shipped across the country, because you should have that in your local area. But that doesn't make them profit when you know that you can shop at the local store with the local farmer that is making all the money and commission from you paying them. When you have a major corporation that has cut costs so low to the point where they're selling to restaurants, they're selling to the consumer of you in your home, they're selling to all the fast food restaurants, that's making a profit. And when little farmers convert you over, you're lessening their profit. I was looking at this TikTok that had made the connection of like why all the foods taste the same. I think they have a YouTube channel because it looked like it was chopped to be on TikTok. And it looked like that they had a full long video for YouTube. And so I was looking into that and I was trying to figure out, because I was like, you know what? I never thought about it this way. And I want you to sit back and think about it as well. How majority of these fast food places taste the same. And I know that you're sitting there thinking like, well, my Chick-fil-A doesn't taste like McDonald's. But when you think about like jalapeno poppers, fries, when you think of like sides and majority of meat in general as the basis, a lot of the food tastes the same. And the guy who was making this video was talking about how the fact that he had went to a brand new restaurant he had never been to. And he went to one that he had been to and many, many times. And he looked into the corporation where these companies get their foods. They get their frozen foods. They get their packages from these companies. This company specific sells to a lot of common local restaurants, chain fast food places. And they have a basis for all of their like French fries, jalapeno poppers, mozzarella sticks, and etc. Right? All those different side pieces that you get as like appetizers or something with your main dish. And so he was saying that after having the different meals from the one place he had never been and then the place that he's been often, they taste the same. And so when you look at the full plethora of they come from the same company, the same place, that's the reason why they taste the same. And then diving deeper into how many companies, chain restaurants, chain fast food places specifically, use the same products, it makes sense. It makes sense how you're not getting any new types of foods with these new restaurants, with these new chain places that they open up. They're under the same corporation of McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A, and etc. Because when you look at the full plethora of the umbrella that these corporations and companies are under, majority of them are still thriving to this day. And how you were thinking, how in the world are they still thriving in 2020 if this isn't a big major corporation everywhere? It's because they're under umbrellas. And they have to do this so that they can keep their money spread out. They have to do this so that they can keep their profits spread out. It's a smart business plan, but when you're the consumer outside looking in, you realize how dangerous this is, especially for food. Because when you have the lack of variety in food, you do understand that that makes a monopoly, just like how we have with the person who is in White House, who is in charge, how they have there is no other person that can help be able to litigate the situation and lessen the situation. You do understand that that puts you in the same danger as what we currently are in, but that's with the foods that you eat. Because majority of people don't even know how to cook from scratch. So if you bring up the fact that you have to stop eating restaurants, fast food, and a lot of your frozen food that's on the shelves as well is the same, they're sitting there panicking thinking, well, I have to be able to feed my kids as a parent, and I have to be able to do this and make it to work, and I have to be an adult. And you're hitting all of these points that they have now seen as pain points, and they use that against you. Because that's the key between the people who understand and are thriving in the space that has been designed against them versus the people who don't understand that and they're not thriving in the space and they're just continuously trying to make it by. is you understanding that they know these pain points. They have studies. They do reviews. This is the reason why they do all these questionnaires and things, is so that they can get a pain point and then profit from that pain point. And they know what your pain point is. As a mother, as a father, as somebody who works a 9 to 5, who works 12 hours, who works overtime consistently, who doesn't have enough food, who doesn't have places to go at 12 o'clock midnight every single time, and doesn't want to eat McDonald's or Burger King all the time. There's a lot of different things that they study and they realize and they recognize as a problem, and then they appeal to that pain point by selling you something that is going to make you have to buy something else. Because that is the continuous problem that is going on, is that they give you something and then they sell you something else to fix the problem that they gave you in the first place. It happens with your health. It happens with products. This is the reason why in America specifically, we have such a bad consumer-based lifestyle. We have to consistently buy something to fix something. It's because when you buy something in the space that they have literally waited for you to buy and to have a pain point for, they sell you a DLC. They sell you something that is a... I'm going to give you a great example that just came to my brain. My dad, my father, got an iPad for the first time. He's been an Android tablet user for years, and he had to buy so many tablets over the years because Android tablets are crap. So he finally bought we finally bought him an iPad one year, I think for his birthday or something. And he's been on his iPad. He wanted a pencil, like he wants the whole 9 yards, right? So he gets the pencil, and it's the newer version of the iPad, and you know that the top part comes off for you to be able to charge it. He consistently drops the top part or loses it, and then has to look around the living room to find it, because that's usually where he's using his iPad. And so what did Apple do? Knowing that that is a common problem that they're going to have with this pencil, knowing that the old pencils had no problems and people were keeping their pencils, so then they created a problem so that you have to buy something else. So now they give you the little pencil cap lid. Now they give you the little thing where when you take it off to go charge it, it just hangs off the edge for a little, I think it's called a dongle. I think that's what it's called. They gave you a dongle. But knowing the fact that instead of them just putting the dongle on the pencil when they first designed it, because they knew that was a problem, they decided they were going to sell you the dongle. They decided they were going to sell you. So do you understand? Do you see how that they give you they give you a product and then sell you the solution to the problem with the product? That's the same thing that they do with your food. They give you foods that make you terrible, toxic, sick on the inside, sick on the outside, and then they sell you a solution back. Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Fiber One bars. Because you don't need a Fiber One bar when you're eating fiber, so why are you lacking fiber if fiber comes from fruits and vegetables? Why do you need a Jenny Craig or a Weight Watchers if you're following a plate and a pyramid that they have designed that is supposed to regulate and help your body be healthy as it possibly can be? You're eating the meat, you're consuming the dairy, you're limiting processed snacks, but yet somehow you're still overloaded with inflammation, following their regimen. Because they program you and sell you something, appeal to your pain points, and then when you have another plethora of different things stack and pile on top of each other, they're like, oh, here's a new solution, here's Jenny Craig, here's a P90X. And I know that these are smaller people in the space of the bigger corporation, but like I said, you have to look at the umbrella of where they come from. Because majority of these people who are selling you the new solution are just generational wealth consumers. They're children of the grandfather who created the problem. This is just like how people are complaining about the iPhone has no innovation since Steve Jobs has died, and how the iPhone is dead, but yet people keep buying iPhones knowing that they have a problem with the battery, knowing that iPhones aren't the best phone out there. It's a continuous cycle of them trying to promote to you and telling you that they're giving you something better. They're giving you something better. They have fixed this, and then they sell you a new problem. And so I'm going to get back on my topic of health, but I just wanted you to understand and put it into perspective of how your mood swings, your exhaustion, your PMSing, your cravings that you don't know where they're coming from and you can't control, the brain fog, the memory issues that you're having, is not because there's something wrong with your body, but it's because literally you are in a system that has made you believe that warning signs from your body are something to be ignored, and that you should have to go to the doctor in order for them to diagnose you. So if they don't diagnose you and you have all these problems, there's something wrong with you. And since there's something wrong with you and nobody can figure it out, you just got to deal with it. You just got to make it by to the next day. Drink coffee, take a supplement that should be able to help you, take a fake fiber that should help you, magnesium from a supplement, take your iron supplements. Instead of sitting back and recognizing you're lacking nutrition, and that lack of nutrition is making you go crazy. And so when you start actually eating nutrition, this is going to help you be able to regulate your emotions. This is going to help you be able to not have those crazy cravings. It's going to help you be able to relax and to sleep and to rest. Not just be asleep and to wake up the next day, but to rest. But the key between you knowing those vital sirens that are going off from the symptoms that you're having versus you sitting here thinking that you're having a hormonal imbalance and this is just a part of your life, is you believing that you are a burden. Because that's the key factor, is that they have trained too many men in your life. Is you believing that you are a burden. Because that's the key factor, is that they have trained too many men to too many. Guys, hold on. I had to open this. But they're training you too many. Guys, hold on. I had to open this. But they're training you to And so when you are dealing with hormonal chaos, like majority of women are, this is making your body in fight or flight mode because you feel like there's something wrong with your body. So now you're telling your body that, hey, you shouldn't be hungry right now, even though it's craving food because it's lacking nutrition. So even though you've eaten, and after you've eaten, you're hungry 30 minutes later, now you're punishing yourself for being hungry. So you're starving yourself. And you're not realizing it's because you had no stabilizers in that food that supported your blood sugar and regulating, and that supported your body in getting the nutrition that you need as well. And so then in return, you have more cravings and you're feeling hungry because the stomach has been activated, but the stomach wasn't given what it was needed. Your pH balance is off. You're having an issue with your blood sugar regulation, and this is going to cause you to sit back and be hungry. And all of this dysregulation, and you don't support the body, it puts your body in fight or flight mode, which makes your body panic. In return, this is going to cause anxiety. This is going to cause depression. Thank you guys for the likes. I really appreciate it. And your system internally feels like it's under attack from the ultra processed foods, from your meats, from your dairy, from your toxic habits if you consume medications, because medications have toxins in them. And your hormones become the collateral damage for all the habits that you have. And so in return, since your hormones are so dysregulated and they're so thrown off, you sit here and think that you need birth control now to regulate your hormones, or you think that there's something wrong with your body as a woman because your weight, your fluctuation between your hormones is natural according to what they say. And it is normal for your hormones to fluctuate, but it's not normal for you to have hormonal imbalances. And a lot of women are dealing with hormonal imbalances, categorizing themselves as a fluctuation. And that's not normal. It's common, but it's not normal. And your doctors don't teach you how to connect the dots in between what is going on between your internal system to the external things that you have going on in your symptoms. And so this impacts your organs as you age, as you go on, and you think that as you get older, this is what happens, that you just develop diseases, that you have X, Y, and Z going on. But you're not realizing it's not because you're getting older, but it's because your system has been impacted for 10, 15, 20, 30, however many years, and has not been supported the way that it's been asking to be supported. And so since it hasn't been supported, it hasn't been filtering out your toxins. So now your fat cells are holding on to these toxins, and it's stored inside of your fat cells, and your fat cells are toxic. and you're having the issue of hormonal regulation, because now you're having that anxiety from your gut being off. You're having all this depression from your gut being off. You're having the fluctuation from your cycle because you don't sync with your cycle and you don't eat according to your cycle phases. And this dysregulation from the toxins inside of your liver is also not negating the toxins inside of your gut, because your gut pH has to be a certain level to expel. And it's a consistent stress hormone that's being pumped through your body that is not only cortisol, but it's also androgens, because androgens come from the lack of stability inside the body and a high cortisol state, a high toxicity state. And so then you're sitting back here thinking that, oh, your cortisol is too high, so you're trying to lower your cortisol. And a lot of people don't realize when you have high cortisol and you do not balance that cortisol, instead of trying to get it lower, but you're not balancing it, you're going to hit a plateau of a bottom at some point from having high cortisol. And that is still not regulated and balanced. And that's still going to impact your body negatively. The same way that fight or flight mode is happening from high cortisol, it happens from low cortisol as well, because that's a panic. That's a stress hormone. And so if it's a low stress hormone, it doesn't mean that you're balanced in the stress state. That just means your body now thinks that you're unaliving. So high stress and low stress when it comes to the cortisol is not good. So now your body thinks that you're dying. And this whole system not being supported affects your adrenal glands, and your adrenal glands is what your hormones get pumped from. This is when your body tells you you need more estrogen or less estrogen. But when you're not regulated and your body cannot sit there and say, okay, we have enough estrogen, we don't need to pump anymore. Now you're sitting here dealing with the issue of there's too much estrogen inside the liver. You have estrogen dominance now, and you're sitting back trying to figure out how you became estrogen dominant, and it's all because of you lacking that stability with your hormones. And that instability with your hormones is causing you to play this cat and mouse game with your body, trying to figure out what it needs, trying to figure out how you get back to the space of healthy you, looking back at your picture from 2 years ago, trying to figure out how you gained all this weight. And it's not just because your eating habits are worse than what they were, but it's because you didn't have a regulation in your habits that allowed you to have a stable lifestyle of a healthy lifestyle. A lot of people don't have that because you do quick, fast diets. You support yourself with caffeine for energy. You sit here and think that self-care is something that you do every now and then, and you avoid doing it when you don't feel the worst, that you know you can keep pushing, because these are things that affect the body and how it supports itself in getting out of fight or flight mode and regulates itself. Because when you have the dysregulation, you can't just skip things thinking that it's not this, it's this. You have to look at the full circle and the full plethora. So you thinking that just because your gut is imbalanced, that now you have to take a gut supplement, it's deeper than that. Because if your gut is off, I can guarantee you the liver is not being supported either, the pancreas, the kidneys. And so that's a full plethora. Because the kidneys need cellular hydration in order for them to be filtering your blood correctly. And if you're getting cellular hydration, there's no way that the gut can be completely thrown off to the point where it gives you all this anxiety and things, because that means the digestive tract is getting flushed. So it is more than just looking at one aspect, but it's a full plethora of all. But you have to know what these signs are meaning so that you can pinpoint what is happening. And that's what I teach in my Balanced Body program. I teach women how they can look at the full plethora, the full idea of what's going on inside their body, and not seeing their body as the problem, but seeing it as there's a dysregulation in the system that has taught you how to take care of your own body. And so we have to get to the space of knowing what a woman's body needs every single month by cycle syncing. Understanding what the body needs using food as your medicine. Learning how to balance the blood sugar inside of your body and not be in an insulin resistant state every single time that you eat. Knowing how detoxification happens after you support the body and getting into a space of feeling comfortable. Not during the time where you're feeling uncomfortable in fight or flight mode that you should decide that you're going to go eat only fruits and be in a calorie deficit and starve yourself, or do only a juice cleanse, because that's going to make your body dysregulated and scared. And that's going to make your body hold on to toxins. We have to get out of the space of the habits that we are currently dealing with and use habit releasers. And how we get to the space of using habit releasers is recognizing the problem, the root cause, and then getting to the space of shifting. And so if you are looking for that and you want that strategy that teaches you how to do that, My Balanced Body program is exactly what I've designed over the 5 years of me being plant-based, what I have used, and what has kept me plant-based for 5 years. The link is in my bio. You can go check it out. You can get it with Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay. It is going to help you and support you in understanding how to do all of these balancers for your hormones, how to support the body from the inside out as a woman, syncing with your cycle, and how important it is in the space that we currently are with the tainted meat, the dairy, and all of the toxins that they keep promoting and pushing onto you. So, I haven't seen any questions. I've seen likes. I appreciate you guys for the comments and the likes. I thank you for the follows. If you have any questions, please drop them down below. And if you don't have any questions, I'm going to hop off. I try to go live at least 3 times a week. So Sundays are usually the day that I go live. If you are on my email list, you will know when I go live because it's kind of sporadic. Excuse me. So I don't know if we'll be back live tomorrow or Tuesday, but I do try to knock out like 2 lives at the beginning of the week and then 1 at the end. So you can go check that out. The link is in my bio if you want to learn more. I'm not seeing any more questions because it is getting a little warm in here. So I'm going to go in and do what I needed to do with the place that I'm at. Thank you for the likes. I really do appreciate it. If you would like to know more about a plant-based lifestyle, if you would like to know more about just what I talk about, if you want to know like how to start making your plant-based meals, I do have a beginner cookbook. If you want to learn more about balancing your blood sugar and getting insulin resistance out of your life and really just honing in on how you can support the body using food, I have 2 cookbooks in my bio. You can go check those out. And I have plenty of other things to support you with Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay as well. I have plenty of free things on YouTube from here to TikTok, as well as on my email list as well. Don't sit back and think that there's no solution for you, because there is. So I hope that you have an amazing rest of your Sunday. Thank you guys for being here. I truly appreciate it, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.